I'm ready.
I didn't say it.
For the camera.
What's the day of the week?
Oh, this is Sunday, June 19th. It's Father's Day.
Very good.
Ah,
Yeah, 2005.
Now we'd like you to
Correct.
tell us a
And
little
your
bit about.
What's your name?
Hey?
It's on my birth certificate.
Oh. You're gonna get me going again.
Okay, I have some
We
questions.
stumped him, Dad.
I don't know what goes on.
No, can we just ask?
Yes.
How many years have you been married?
63 years. 63 and a half.
Where were you married?
2304 Humboldt. In front
You
of
were
the
married?
fireplace. Yeah. Well, we grew up there. We lived there all our life.
But the ceremony was in the house?
Yeah.
Who married?
They had to get married. That's not true, actually.
And 4 years later, little Corey came out.
And who married you?
4-year incubation period.
Chauncey Blossom.
Who was standing up at the wedding? Who was that?
Brother Richard and my sister Ann.
Brother Richard was the best man.
Yes.
Where was Jim?
Well, she was just a kid. After all, I'm
Well, how old are you?
19, but I was 20 the next
So
week.
she would have been like 15.
All of your sisters were there.
Did you really say I do, Dad?
He doesn't remember.
You were the only
How'd you like that?
ones of your family though that your parents, both of your parents, got to see get married, right?
Right.
Only one out of 15.
You still have your wedding dress?
All get married.
I didn't have a dress. This was wartime. I had a yellow suit, right? And he said, you can buy a new suit every year. I haven't got it since, but.
What?
62 suits behind.
Yes, so you wore 62 suits.
But he still has the receipt from the wedding.
Oh, still has the receipt
So-
for the wedding dress.
What do you
So you got married during the war. You took off right away then?
No, we had 6 months before he had to go.
Did you work in a factory at all then?
I worked, out in San Diego. I worked at Consolidated Aircraft.
She was
In
Rosie the Riveter.
No, the blueprint department.
So who did you meet first in the Kohlauer family?
Richard Kolar.
Did you date Richard?
Don't blame me. That's actually, she won't like that question, I happen to know.
No,
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Donna, what do you remember about Nana when she was a little girl?
Well, not when she was a little girl.
Nana Jenny.
Nana
You
Jenny.
know my Nana.
Oh, we used to play games all the time, but she had to win. If she was too smart, she won a lot of them. But we'd keep Monopoly going all summer long, or
Chinese checkers.
oh yeah, she loved that. And what did we play? I wanted to call it rummy, but that wasn't it.
Royal,
We had
Royal,
Royal Rummy?
Michigan.
Michigan. And we'd keep that going all summer long too.
So where did you sleep in the back porch on Humboldt? Did you sleep out there in summertime?
All of us did.
What,
All
like
four
what
of
end
us.
did you sleep in? Remember it?
By Gemlo's house.
South end then?
No, that'd be north.
North end?
Yeah.
That's where I slept.
And it really wasn't any cooler. Of course, there's all those
Yeah.
windows, but and they still have those.
Right.
But if a storm would come up, I can still see Nana, my mother, coming, trying to pull those windows shut. And boy, when the wind is blowing, they were hard to move.
Did you skate at Liquid Isles?
Yeah, except in those days they buy your skates 2 sizes too big so you could grow into them. So
It's a good way to break your ankles.
I
Did you like
too well.
sled at Kenwood Park then too down the hill?
Oh yeah, we played tennis down there.
My mother played tennis.
Yeah.
Now, did
Until the
you?
instructor told me that I was good, and then
Now, Jenny lived with one of your sisters, right, for a while?
for 1 year.
For 1 year?
Yeah.
Who did she live with?
Sister Mary.
Okay.
And that's where she still was friends with all those girls in her kindergarten class from, it was a little portable school. I can't ever remember the name. But,
Is that where she learned how to swim?
oh, possibly, because Mary's husband Milt was the athletic director at the athletic club. And he would take us down to swim. Only you had to shower in this big room with all the old ladies. I thought, I'm never going back there, so I never did learn how to swim.
Mary used to take us swimming at, no, Mary, I'm mixing up,
Lydia,
Lydia at Cedar Lake.
down to the lake.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
How old were you when you got polio?
About 2, they said. I had whooping cough at the time. Of course, Nana would never say I had it.
Polio or pertussis?
Well, they called it infantile paralysis in those days. But nobody was ever sick.
So they never wrapped your legs with,
Oh, yeah,
oh, they did.
one of the neighbors was a junior leaguer, and she took me to the curative workshop where they had big tubs of warm water and they'd work your leg. But that was embarrassing too. I was, maybe 7 years old, and you just had your little panties on.
I always thought you got out of gym class because of that.
She did.
Now you're saying you played tennis
Oh, that's
and ice
different.
skated?
I didn't
Oh.
want to take gym.
selective.
So was tennis after
Grandma,
school or during school?
What?
Tennis.
No, we were playing in the summer.
So that wasn't school
Ken-
time.
They had tennis courts, so I don't know if they're still there.
She in there?
Who were some of your
Did you watch the
boyfriends
movie?
before Big Warren?
I didn't go out with boys. My mother wouldn't let me. And then along comes 3 younger sisters, they could do anything they wanted.
then.
Well, yeah, how did,
They
How did
both
you
married
meet?
their first date.
how did you meet Rich?
My brother Dave was dating Kolar's sister Barb. And Dave took me up to Kolar's house with him one time. And my mother didn't want me to go. And I remember
Smart woman.
And so Rich and I babysat for a friend of Barb and Dave's.
So is that how Rich would have met Ginny? At your house?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because of these
Well,
other people dating?
he was that boy, and Rich was that boy's brother.
So how did Dave and Barbie?
Well, they were the same age in school.
Oh, so they met in school.
Did you ever, when all 3 were married, did you ever like socialize at one time together, like go out?
No. We had a lot of family parties, right? I never liked him in a family party.
Your husband?
Yeah. When he got with his family, he was different.
Huh.
So is that like the Halloween party when you dressed as a full rear?
That's
Yeah, I
interesting.
wore Corey's football uniform. I went as a full rear.
That is hilarious. Can I take that idea for Halloween this year?
And then what's the rest of that story where you thought your son, the quarterback,
Oh, I said if he got better, maybe they'd make him a halfback, and pretty soon he'd be a fullback. Because they keep
Always a
saying,
quarterback.
how many on a baseball team? How many on a football team? I don't know. I just watched Corey. If he got up again, then everything was okay.
That's interesting to know about how he would revert to juvenile behavior around his siblings. So it's hereditary.
Yeah, do you do that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Never shut up then. Then when we got to the desert, they wouldn't believe me when I said he was so bashful and shy. That's why I liked him.
Thompson's doing all the talking now.
so at these parties like the Halloween one, would it be just all the relatives or who all would be at a party like that?
It was all the relatives, and it depended. If it was at Betty's house, sometimes she'd have a couple of couples that she knew. It'd be at different houses.
They grew up partying all the time.
Did you ever have, when you were kids, have like pancake breakfasts at Minnehaha Park at all then? Did your family ever do that?
Well, just with your family and our family.
But not when you were a kid, child.
Oh, no. No, mother said she'd rather raise 6 girls than 1 boy, because she could keep us home and play in our dolls and our school and everything quietly at home.
Not nowadays.
And the boys are,
And which one is your bedroom on Humboldt? Which one?
oh, I had to sleep with your mother in the front bedroom,
Front,
front right.
like the master bedroom?
Yeah. And I cried because I said she died.
She went to bed. How old was she?
15.
Oh, no. Just a little girl.
What's your favorite memory of my Nana?
Putting to bed.
Well, no, I was gonna say before that then Dad fixed up that little back bedroom in the maid's room.
Susie's room.
Oh, so was mine. So I had my own room and we made all those shelves in the closet. I was just so thrilled.
Oh, so that became your own room then?
Yep. My favorite memory of Jimmy. Well, we always used to tease her that she was a boy. Because, well, she's the only athletic one in here. And the only one that learned to drive. And then the rest of us. Of course, it was just the 4 of us girls that grew
So,
up together.
She was pretty progressive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
And what was the story about saving somebody's life on the bus by Douglas School?
She, I don't know if she was on the bus. She must have been. That streetcar. Oh, yeah, streetcar in those days. And a man got off and he was having an epileptic seizure. And she knew enough to help him and knew enough to save him. And she got the American Legion Medal for it.
Oh, cool.
Do any of you have it?
I don't have it. I've never seen it.
I don't know where it is.
I was gonna
I've got a newspaper clipping, but not
Yeah.
a medal.
Yeah, because that was quite an honor for
Was she a Girl Scout?
Of course not.
Your ass Jackie.
you know, I don't know.
You don't have to worry about the time.
I asked him today for the
Yearbook.
yearbook, and he said he thinks it might be a fall.
It's physically impossible.
Oh,
That's not acceptable.
yeah, so he said that he will try to get it.
Who was responsible for Ginny and Rich getting married?
Me,
Wow.
I was the only one out in San Francisco. But Jenny went back with me to see, we were married, to see Dad off to war. And
So they
Rich,
just eloped?
she and Rich got married, and they always say it's my fault because she wasn't 18, but nobody asked me, so I didn't lie.
I got that on tape.
So it was more or less a spontaneous wedding.
Yeah.
They
I have a
just,
picture of the church, by the way.
they just decided, we'll get married?
Well, when did the courtship take place?
On the train?
Did she go out there expecting to get married?
No, I don't think so.
Wow.
Didn't you, your mother wrote a letter and she didn't like it a bit?
What year was that then?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So there was no real dating or anything? They kind of just,
Yes, sir.
Where did Jenny
That would-
stay
that
when
would
Rich
explain
went to
a lot,
war?
actually.
Where did Jenny stay when Rich went to war?
Well, she got, by the time they got married, I think he was ashore for a while. Because she lived in Norfolk with him and
Been in the
somewhere.
Navy long enough to go through a few battles and came back to California, and he was home when I was home, and then I went back on the ship, and then you and Jenny and Richard came out together, and they were, well, you always did love your mother, let's put it that way, and he probably became a good salesman to talk her into getting married.
A sweet talker.
And I think your mother was so honest, she wanted to consummated anything, she would marry him.
Wasn't his hair almost blonde then? From the sun?
Richard was almost blonde
Yes?
from being in the
Oh, from
sun.
being out in the
Right.
sun in the Pacific.
In Hawaii,
So when I came home from the war the first time, or second time, he'd evidently been going to school and then he had a 3-week leave of some sort where they got married and they didn't have any money, so he had to go to work in the grain mill, shoveling grain to make money on the side.
That's when we lived in Santa Rosa,
That's right.
where our Aunt Rachel is.
Mm-hmm.
And Rich got that job at the green.
Temporary.
Yeah. But you came home on leave.
So I came
And
home and
he had some money.
he,
And Ginny and I had just been living on, we'd wait until
Yeah.
lunchtime and then we'd have pineapple and cottage cheese and share it. And he had money, so we got to go eat that night.
So how long you and Ginny lived together in San Francisco then?
With Aunt
In
Rachel.
Santa Rosa.
In Santa
Well,
Rosa?
yeah, not with Aunt Rachel.
Oh, not with Aunt
We-
Rachel?
In
they rented an
another
apartment.
lady's house.
So how long were you there?
Until I guess Rich got assigned somewhere.
I'd say less than three months probably. Then Richard got assigned to go to decent school in Cleveland, I think it was.
And then another
Ginny
time,
followed.
yeah, and another time they were in, I think it was Norfolk, somewhere in the south.
Norfolk, and they went to Florida.
Because she said, oh, they had an awful room with bugs
Yeah.
and, yeah. Of course, you did things when you were young in wartime that you wouldn't think of doing any other time.
Do you remember exactly where you were when you found out the war ended?
Yeah,
I guess I did.
yeah. I was staying with Barb in her apartment, and I said, I'm gonna have the baby. And so Corey was born the day the war ended. We listened to it on the radio, no TV.
It's easy to
The day the
remember.
war ended.
Yeah, September 2nd, 1945.
That
That's when they
kept your mind off the labor.
signed the peace treaty on the Missouri.
But then how long did it take before Dad found out he had a son?
About 3 months. Oh, no, it took over a month to find out, and he didn't see him until. he
And
was
wasn't it a
over 3
letter
months.
from Ginny
Yeah.
that he found out?
All the guys were leaving the ship, but he couldn't go because
She's just
you
chewing.
were the gyro compass man, and you were,
Military necessity,
yeah.
90 days.
So he had a bet. He said, when my baby's born, if it's a boy, I get $100, and the other guys, oh no, it'll be a girl. Well, it had to be a boy.
Well,
I had
it
no
was close
choice.
enough.
And so he's waiting. He's waiting for the mail to come. The guys are already down on
They were being transferred off the ship.
off the ship.
The
And
war was over.
so he got a letter from Ginny, and she says it went on and on and on about this beautiful baby, blah, 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 blah. And not till the very end did she say it was the most beautiful boy I've ever seen. So she says, give me my money.
Until he
You
grew
know,
up.
Until you came.
Until he grew up.
kid's been making money ever since he was born.
So Dad, what was your role in the raising of Rich, your brother?
Well, you know, that was-
The raising.
well,
What did your mother assign
being the
you?
older brother, I was always supposed to set the example. And mother would always remind me of that too.
Take care of your brother.
That's my brother.
He couldn't run fast
But,
enough.
Richard was being the youngest in the family. He was spoiled by his sisters. He could do no wrong, of course. And, as far as
You don't raise them.
set an example,
Yeah.
I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, I didn't take girls out. Richard came to high school with a girl in each arm and a cigarette in his pocket. And there it was. But,
What was the story about how to get the scar in his upper lip? Somebody threw a plow truck or something?
he was playing a pair of twins lived down the street about 2 blocks. And Richard was out there, Richard's age. And he was playing with them and he came out of their back door and he tripped and he fell, and when he hit the bottom stair there, evidently there was a nail sticking out. And he hit his mouth on that nail and split his lip right off.
I thought somebody threw a truck at him or something.
No, that was me, I threw a truck at him.
That's, see,
Bank.
I'm mixing stories.
I can tell that story.
I'm mixing stories up there.
But Richard cut pretty bad. Of course, my dad would take you to the doctor and she had a broken leg. I just put a Band-Aid on it and hope it healed up.
Ugly scar, ugly scar.
But that was one time. Another time I came home from school and Richard was, I think I must have been about 7 and he probably was in morning kindergarten at Lindale. And I came home and there he was up in the bed and his leg was propped up, hanging from a rope in the top. And unbeknown to me, he'd gotten run over by a milkman out in front of our house and he broke his leg. And the fellow that ran over him owned a toy factory. And Richard was surrounded by toys. And I was pretty jealous of him at that time, believe me.
That was at your house?
It was our house. Richard had gone across the street, which we weren't supposed to do actually. But he being more adventurous than I was all the time, he went across and we followed him. And the milkman brought him home.
I never heard that story.
Oh, yeah.
And you said he was so lucky, he had a summer birthday and got toys, and you had a winter one, and all you got
Did you
were
get to go to the
rack
doctor for that?
stockings.
Yeah, they took him to a doctor.
Did you guys always share a bedroom?
I suppose because
Yeah.
the milkman had to pay for it, right?
Oh, that house is small.
Very small. So I
And
wonder where all those
closets.
kids slept.
There was a
Do
little.
you know the
attic.
history of that house?
3517 DuPont South.
Maybe you know that, want to explain how that house came into
Oh,
your dad's?
well, it wasn't your dad's, it was your mom.
Belonged to your mother.
From what I gathered, originally it belonged to my
To your mother's grandfather,
my mother's grandfather.
Albion Miller.
And the man died and the grandmother bought the house. And then she was quite old, elderly, and my mother bought into the house too.
But had,
So when she got married to my dad, he owned the house up north of Minneapolis. She owned this house, so my mother paid it off.
So
but
your mother
had,
actually owned the house then?
She owned the house.
but hadn't those grandparents raised your mother?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was raised by her Aunt Lily too. She lived there for, she went to the homeless
I
girl.
didn't know
Where did Skipper live in North Minneapolis?
I gave you the address a couple times.
that. That was his
Well, give it to me
first,
again.
that was his first marriage.
I don't think I have that
His
either.
first marriage.
How'd I know what it
That
was?
you need to ask that question.
Years up
That would be
there.
very
Always
interesting.
somebody goes to their house.
We drove by one time, it's still there.
So if you shared a room with Rich, do brothers talk a lot and share stories a lot?
No.
Really?
He'd
For
push,
the little kids.
when they were gonna get spanked by their dad's
Sure.
metal hairbrush, he'd push Rich over so that Rich would get it the worst.
Oh, yeah. Dad had a hairbrush.
Excuse me.
Now Brad can relate since he used to pick on his younger brothers.
Yeah.
My dad had a hairbrush and had steel metal pegs, is what it was.
So that's the only house you knew as a child then?
Oh,
You never lived anyplace else? Did he always have a spittoon?
Always.
Even as when you were a kid, did Skipper have a spittoon?
Oh, sure. Chew tobacco.
Right in the dining room,
Who
right?
had to clean that?
I don't think I ever
Got
had
it?
that.
I don't know.
I didn't inherit that.
Do you remember that?
Oh,
Disgusting.
Gross.
You see, my dad was 45 years old when I was born. And he was 47 when Richard was born, so my father was
See, I never met
actually
Skipper.
hanging up his hunting guns and fishing ranges when we were born. So You might say we were almost raised by grandparents, that respected the world.
Did he encourage you to learn woodworking skills and stuff in the basement?
Richard put that up himself.
He's got quite a workshop down there now.
Well, I think
Where
my
did-
dad, the only thing he encouraged me to do was be quiet.
Tell him about the time he was spanking you.
Should
Yep.
I must have been about 8 years old, and I don't know what I did wrong, but it didn't make any difference to Dad. He was whipping me in the kitchen, whacking away at me. And Mother says, "You're hitting him too hard. You're going to kill him." He says, "What do you think I'm trying to do?" Evidently,
Times were different back then.
His mother
Skipper was a rather hardcore guy.
His mother was the sweetest
His
person.
mother was the sweetest person. Oh,
Alice.
yep,
What a
Alice
beauty.
Mercy.
What a beauty.
yeah.
she even used to make
Sounds sweet.
angel food cakes and sell them. She'd make
Kids did.
10 cakes at a time. And my sister Betty would take them downtown to Hyams store, and they would give her $1 a piece for them.
Ooh, that was a lot of money in those days. Well, I thought you had to go door to door and try to sell
You
them.
remember about those that they didn't take, would go and sell them door to door. And they had chicken coops.
Maury, do you remember getting electricity? When
No, it's all.
they already had it always?
I remember on Humboldt, when we first lived there, there were gas fixtures in all the rooms.
Really?
They took them all
How about,
out. And then that maid's thing in the kitchen, big box like that, whenever somebody would ring from one of the
where are you
bedrooms,
going?
Dad took that out.
What were they, gas or kerosene?
Well, I just assumed they were gas.
They were gas.
Would their gas lines run up to the roof?
Right up to all the light fixtures.
How about refrigerators? Do you remember when you got a refrigerator?
We lived on the corner then, not at 2320 Humboldt. And yes, when we got the refrigerator, the maid quit because she
What?
liked the ice man.
What year was that?
That's a good reason.
And Nana made fresh peach ice cream to go in the new
So
refrigerator.
did you have to get a new maid? Housekeeper?
I don't know what they did then.
So what year did you move from 2320 to 2204?
God, I don't know the year,
30s?
but
Which kid came along?
Nancy was born on 2320, and it looked like in a picture she was maybe 2, 3 years old when we moved. And she's 7 years younger than me, so
1930 or something.
1930, yeah.
that could be. Because there's a picture of the three of us. Should be 4.
What prompted the move? Why did
Well, they
move
didn't
this
own
way?
the house on the corner.
Oh, they renting
They
that?
rented it. And Dad had a huge garden out back. Just a
Which was the
little-
nicer house?
I think 2304, right?
$1 million house.
But
It's a lot bigger.
our brothers used to work at Brody's drugstore, and they'd bring home the sample boxes, and we'd play drugstore down in that room in the basement, have it all set up. And
The Brodies used to rent our garage space.
there's a lot of Brody's, yeah.
There's 2 of them that live in the apartment building right in
Yeah,
back of us.
yeah. Mhm.
One's a real nice guy, I remember. Tall, lanky guy.
Well, one of them had 2 daughters that we used to play with. But it was Izzy and Sam Brody that owned the drugstore. They were so nice to us.
Which drugstore? Because there's drugstores every 2 blocks on Hennepin there.
Well, it was on the corner of 24th and Hennepin.
24.
And both it is now.
Did you ever, as a family, go out to eat very often? Ever? Never? Couldn't afford
You
it?
don't do what everybody else does. You're supposed to be different.
Well, how old were you when you first went out to dinner? Or out to eat?
Well, I used to go in high school with girlfriends. You could go to the Nicollet Hotel, and for $1 you could have a real good lunch and a movie ticket for $1. And that's where I learned to eat
You get a
creamed
candy bar for $1.
asparagus on toast. And I thought, oh, I'm never gonna eat that.
Is that
I
downtown?
love it. Yeah.
Must have gone to,
Take the streetcar down?
Yes.
Where was the movie theater?
They'd be on Hennepin Avenue.
Like Stage or Orpheum.
They should regular movies at those places?
Mm-hmm.
I went to the State when I was a child.
So
I
they
saw
started
the
out.
Unsinkable Molly Brown in the State Movie Theater in
Oh, and
1965.
the big bands used to come to the city.
Thursday?
No, Betty.
Yeah, we'd,
It
did you go
was
to Becky's Cafeteria?
oh, yes, yes.
Debbie Reynolds.
Very good
Was the
food.
Unsinkable Molly
I know you went to the Forum all the time, weren't you?
Well, that was the only places folks that ever went.
That's good food there, Forum was
Yeah.
good.
But you notice the fat of the people, they always have mashed potatoes and donuts piled on their tray.
Well, it's cafeteria style.
Yeah.
Right there.
But your,
I didn't realize you were
Richard and I bought a car, $25. Paid $5 down, $1 a week till it got paid off. We split 4 cents a piece. And when I first met her, my mother didn't want her to go out. She didn't know that I had a car. I used to meet Donna at the corner and she offered the car to me.
I could never get away with that with my dad.
No,
You mean you didn't go to the library?
or, no,
No, where I pointed out is
library, I didn't know. what that
Cedar
was.
Yeah, but weren't you
Here's an
18?
inappropriate question, where'd you go park then?
I was just gonna say that.
Not
It
too
was
far
all,
from here.
it was all woods.
Where was it though, exactly?
It's
France Avenue.
just off Cedar Lake and all those big mansions on
Right down
France
here?
Avenue. Yeah, they were just woods and big old,
And then they lived on 28th,
Yeah.
the house is not there anymore.
no, we lived on,
Oh, the real small
when you got
house
married.
oh, when we were married.
on the back lot.
Well, this, I'm talking about when we were 20,
That's
as
Sally's.
such.
At Sally's.
And then we, every payday, she'd take me over to a certain room with
They must
me,
be all out.
pots and pans, silverware, and pretty soon I realized that something was going on there.
Little slow to pick up on things.
Yeah.
See where I come from?
Did you ever go swim at Hidden Beach down
I
in
didn't
Cedar?
learn anything.
Oh, yes, and Lydia would take us,
Hidden Beach?
yeah,
Well, it's popular now.
yeah.
You went skinny dipping?
Hidden Beach.
No. God, I was a prude. That's why my sisters called me the married old.
Amy, been to Hidden Beach?
Back
No,
to
I
the
don't know. I
car.
would
You
call it
didn't
the
go there.
point.
When
Back
they
to
bought
the
the first
car,
car,
Dad.
they put
How did
$5
you and
down
Rich
and they
divide
$1
the
week for
time
20
with the
weeks.
car?
Very, very hard.
20 weeks. The car was $25.
Many
Fights.
scramble.
In what year?
But you didn't say that your,
Back when they were
it cost your
courting.
dad $35
early
to
40s.
insure it for you.
That's right. He went to certain room and bought a policy to protect himself.
The insurance cost more than the car.
Yeah.
It did,
yeah.
actually. $35.
What did gas cost then?
About 8-9 cents a gallon.
Okay.
And the
Brad,
neighbor-
don't you
the
remember
neighbor
when you
boy
started
across-
driving? Gas was 25 cents a gallon when I started driving.
I will never forget the first time I went to Grand Forks. Maybe not the first time, but coming into Highway 81, there was a gas war going on then. The first station I saw in Grand Forks, 11 cents a gallon.
Wow.
Oh my God.
1969 it was.
Wow. See, I can't remember anything less than 25 cents a gallon. And I thought it was outrageous when it went to 30 cents. And we were married, I think, when it went to 50 cents.
And the worst of it is, the neighbor boy across the alley would siphon gas out of my car,
Oh,
and it only cost 9 cents a gallon. And he would siphon gas
Oh
out
my
of mine.
gosh.
And I was lucky to be able to go out and buy 25 cents worth at a time.
Did you have a paper route when you were younger?
Oh, yeah, many people, 3 of them,
And did your brother ever help you?
very seldom.
okay, tell your story.
One-
Don't get me started.
Tell your story.
The one time I had to go to a dentist because I needed teeth done in my, and I was way down Lake Street in Chicago.
Henderson?
No, this is,
No.
we didn't go to
This
the
is-
until after the war.
What a Hitler he was.
So I asked Richard to help to deliver my papers that day for the time we ever asked us. And I had about 125 customers. And got home that night and 35 papers laid in the living room. I said, what are these? And he said, well, you didn't have any address for them. I said, I had an address for everybody. And then I started getting the bills. They charged, the Star Journal charged 20 cents to deliver paper on a complaint if it didn't show up. And you only got about a penny for each paper. So I was wiped out for a month. And he couldn't remember where all those papers belonged. Next day I got fired. The only paper boy probably ever got fired.
Oops.
He still has his Liberty sack where he'd sell Liberty and what was the other one? Women's Home Companion, or Colliers.
Yes. Physical culture.
And Delineator was another. I can remember sitting at my little ironing board learning to write or print. And I remember trying to write out Delineator, it's a long word.
So you're obviously a collector. What's the oldest thing you have in your possession at home?
We,
That was good.
Not counting you.
Not counting your mother?
Non-organic.
Well, I got a postcard that says I won a contest and they're sending Pabst cheese, it's called. And I won a Carl Hubble baseball with his signature on it.
Ooh, you still have that?
I got the postcard without the.
Where is it exactly?
That would have been nice.
Carl Hubble was a star in the 1935 All-Star game. Struck out 5 guys.
Actually, he gave away one of the oldest things he had. He gave away the sword and the violin.
Yeah.
well, he sure did beautiful with it.
Passed it
Outside of that, the certificate I got for selling 23 Liberty magazines, I don't know, it's got the year on it, but I got that.
He must have been pretty
Showing
young.
that I belong to the 23 club, because I sold 23 5-cent magazines every week.
Did you ever go to the DuPont Arena?
Skate, oh yes.
Like public skating or for West High games?
Oh, yeah.
Or?
And that's where the first ice follies used to
Oh,
be.
right.
and they
We didn't go
rented
too
those.
often because it cost money.
They-
You could go to the local parks.
You go to that
We were
all
just
the time.
talking the other day, they had
Their
a
kids
horse
don't even care.
barns up there too, where you could ride
We didn't have
horseback.
water.
At the DuPont Arena?
Our cats
Right
like
A lot of
there.
horses.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah.
And you'd, they'd
They
ride
bad.
right
Are they
down that
indoor
bridle
cats?
path around
I
like
think
the
that
Alps.
these, there's like so much stimuli outside.
Was
of
there
that.
any farming by Humboldt when you were younger?
Not when we
Because
were.
Nanny's tell us there was a farm
Well, they said that,
between our house and the lake.
that's what they said, that it was farm. That's why that hayloft. So I just heard that.
Yeah, because she'd tell us stories that farm was out back
Yeah,
there.
yeah. But from the time we were old enough to realize anything,
So who was the center of attention of the 4 girls? Who would want to get the most attention from your parents?
well, Nancy got it from Dad. Dad loved babies. But when they could talk back, then he'd throw them aside, so she could get another one.
Make another baby. This one talks.
And is it true, you used to say Nana, Ethel didn't know where babies come from?
Well, we always joked that she didn't know. When we got married, she went over and told the neighbors, just think Donna doesn't have to have a baby every year.
What was your dad's pet name for your mother?
Just Mama,
Mama?
yeah.
He called his wife Mama.
Mama, yeah, or woman.
What'd she call him?
Dad.
Woman. Can you
I said,
imagine
well,
being
Dad.
called
what
woman?
was Dad's name?
I wouldn't like a
We were
woman.
so young, we didn't know.
I
It's
called
just,
him damn old fool around me.
no, just old, not Dan.
And where is Wilbur now?
God, I don't even know.
Troublemaker.
I know where he is.
What
Devil
lake?
Track Lake.
Okay.
He never liked lakes.
Devil Track Lake. That's
And he
what
never
Susan's
liked
people
lakes.
do.
Did you hear that? He didn't like lakes. That's because somebody had to ride his
My job was to
bike.
rescue him, I
No,
rescued
to
him.
ride a bike,
Why?
why?
Rescue him. Here we go again.
Dominic golf street,
We turned him over to a double leg.
When she lived on Devil Track Lake, that's what she said.
golf in Mexico.
Golf in Mexico.
Where did Jenny's nickname Mickey McGuire come from?
Dad, he had nicknames for all three of the girls, but nothing for.
Who's Mickey McGuire?
Who's Mickey McGuire? Yeah, what is that?
Well, that was a cartoon, wasn't it? Mickey McGuire, tough little kid.
Like in the papers?
Yeah.
Cartoon?
And Nancy was Mickey Mouse, or Caboose, or. and
Caboose,
Barbara
because she was the last one.
and Barbara was Slats, or Roberta Riggins.
Roberta Riggins?
Yeah. I said, why didn't I ever have a
So-
nickname?
And why didn't you have a nickname?
Mother couldn't think what to say, so she said, oh, you were too much of a lady. They're probably ashamed of me because I had polio.
Do you remember getting your first TV?
We never had one. We got the
Until
first.
they're married.
Our first one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What year was it?
Magnavox, the big one. 500 bucks.
Because
500 bucks would have been a lot of money back then.
Corey,
No,
No,
you sure?
we didn't have color
It was
in those
before
days.
that.
And
he
we-
didn't like it.
we-
Get up the neighborhood, had an admiral with big brass
Oh, yeah, I
buttons
came
on
home
it.
and says, oh, they've
Ours-
got
ours
great
was
big
ugly.
brass buttons on there. So I
Do
can't
you know what
do
year that was though?
What?
Do you remember what year it was when you got your first TV?
So we bought it from Bud Coons, we went to West Island.
Well, we were in the
From
house on
Gabberts-
54.
from Gabberts,
Late 50s maybe?
31st and Lake Street,
See, you were born 51,
Nicholas.
and we moved there on your first birthday. Maybe 52, or, right? Did we get it after we moved into,
I would say
54.
probably 51, 52. around
The first TV I remember, we had a great big console, we got in 58 I remember. But we had a smaller one before that, I don't remember, but the big thing, you know, and big console TV and the tube's about this big,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's silly.
yeah. But we didn't,
We still got
We-
the case.
we couldn't afford color. So when Corey was gonna play in some bowl game, we rented a color TV so he could watch the game. Of course, they didn't have TV when we were kids.
Did it add 10 pounds onto Corey?
He wasn't that bad.
I have a weight fixation.
That's what they say about TV.
And then we had Sally.
That's a joke.
And then along came Sally.
And the 24 pink dresses around the room.
Mustang
It worked.
Sally.
I
If I'd been a
remember
boy, I
going,
would have been really nice.
you must have been with us when we went to Morningside that time where Corey set the passing record.
Yeah.
She was with us too, and we got into the hotel, and in 10 minutes, she spilled all the ice cubes that I'd ordered for the pre-break. And she got herself locked in the bathroom, and maintenance man had to come up and take the hinges off the door to get her out. We went to the ball game, and she spent the whole time going up the railing, all the way down and
Backwards.
around,
You were rather
both sides of the stadium.
uncooperative.
I didn't want to go to those things anymore.
So you were what, about 8?
And after the
If
game,
that even.
we brought her over to see Corey, he was all covered with blood naturally, you know. And he spent a couple minutes with her, and he says, "That's enough, take her home."
Do you remember the game that I came along, we had car trouble off of 94?
Oh, yeah.
We had the battery or something went out, the alternator.
On my car?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, no, the steering wheel was going bad. And we called the knee joints and towed. The Buick wasn't towing right on the road.
we had to stay overnight, I thought, someplace, didn't we? I think we did, I don't remember.
No, but it wasn't somebody drug you into a garage or?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
We had to stay at a rest stop for a while
Yeah.
on the highway.
Oh, that might have been the time we were going up
What is it?
to Grand Forks, yeah.
Grand Forks?
Winnipeg?
Well, I was at Grand Forks. I took you two guys up to Bemidji to see Corey's first game.
That's right.
And I remember you two guys going down the locker room afterwards. And all these guys in their big bodies were taking off their bloody bandages, remember? We all standing there looking at these guys. Young kids.
Oh, we were like 12 and 13 or something.
Yeah, but you were.
You remember taking the train up there ever?
I took the train one direction. I think it was home.
Well, I took it once. It took like 6 hours. It stopped every 10 minutes. It seemed like.
Oh, we
It was
took the
stupid.
We took the bus up once, and it
Could've
took
walked
about
up
10
faster than
hours.
that.
It was
Yeah, Mom, I said, Mom, I'm not taking the train up here anymore.
I don't think Highway 94 was even open when we were
No.
making trips.
No, it was something else. It wasn't 94. It was, I forget what
no
it was.
freeway.
He'd stop at Elm Lake and fill Billy up with rolls.
Bill was the only one that ate them.
I found a new place for you for pecan caramel rolls. It's called Nelson's up in Clearwater, and oh my God.
I've been there.
The homemade pecan caramel rolls are this big, and it's about this thick of pecans on top,
Oh,
over the whole top.
that's on the way going up north.
Yeah, it's before you get to St. Cloud.
There's been articles, about Garrison Keeler and at Freeport.
Chair that hangs right up
Because he
And
lives
he's,
around there.
yeah, and he's gonna buy a
very
restaurant in
comfortable. It
Avon.
just doesn't fit in. There's no place good
He
place
used to
put
go
it.
there as a kid.
So after you guys were all married, you used to get all the cousins together for what, holidays?
Oh, yeah,
Christmas,
for Christmas.
summers.
Yeah, and of course, Barbara never lived in town, and Nancy, they don't acknowledge our family at all. It would be all your family.
Where did Barbara meet Jack?
We were all married and gone. I guess Nana used to have servicemen come for dinners.
Just to be nice?
From the air base.
Oh.
And Barbara had to go up to 24th and Hennepin to meet the streetcar that was bringing some fellows, and one of them was Jack. And we just
I know
carried
that.
on from there. He was based out of World Chamber.
Just a phantom
Yeah.
random meeting.
Mhm.
So they got married and moved off to Chicago then.
Where did Nancy meet Vic?
Well, you'd have to ask your folks that.
In a manhole.
I guess Nancy had lived with us every winter when the folks would go away. And I guess she got mad at us and she went over to live with Jenny and Rich. And he was working in a manhole down there, and I guess Rich introduced him. Made him get married. Which she denies.
You never heard of it?
Made him get married because she was pregnant, right?
Yeah.
That's a good excuse.
I've heard some other stories. Not this myth, but
So Vic was a telephone guy.
Yes.
He was driving the semi truck.
Who's the real mother of Nancy?
oh God, here it comes.
You're the one who's supposed to go to the courthouse and
They won't
look
give it to
up
you.
the birth
You
certificate.
have to prove
You
your
have to
relation.
prove you're related.
Right.
But you're related.
You can prove it.
No, he can't. He has to be like a son or something.
Then ask Gretchen to.
Gretchen probably would do it.
Yes.
Who's talked to Gretchen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
who has
do.
talked to Gretchen?
They do.
Oh,
They do.
She writes to us.
She writes to you,
Yeah.
He calls.
but she doesn't talk to her mother.
Well, her mother won't talk to her, so it's a two-way street.
Do you talk to your aunt?
Well,
You
it's,
don't consider it an aunt. She
it'd
never
be
had-
more likely that a
I talk
child
to
would
my
talk
aunts
to the mother.
almost every week.
We email daily.
They-
Setting a date.
Don't try to turn this around.
I decorated Nancy's apartment. And then she moved to another
She's
floor.
waiting for you to
There,
do
there
it.
is a weird dynamic there.
And she
so-
gave my mother a heart attack, Nancy did. So we don't.
But when she
Nancy
was
didn't give her a
baby,
heart attack. She got a heart attack because she was worried about
Nancy
him.
wore
Well,
her down. It's her fault.
When they sold their house in Bloomington, I went out there with Mom, Ginny. Disgusting. That house. Was, ugh.
Your
Ugh.
mother worked so hard helping get that.
I hauled
ready
more
for-
stuff out of there. I said, where are the sons? Where's the husband? Why am I doing all this?
Yeah.
Because you're family.
Yeah, where are the
Not
sons?
what
His mother
she
asked
would
him to.
consider.
Because
she moved in the apartment to be near us. Ginny and I did everything getting it in there, and Sally did all the decorating, and Ginny and I even washed the new sheets to made her bed. And it was so good.
That's because Nancy was just like Ann.
What was the weird thing?
Yeah.
Did Ann used to boil her booze or something?
Yep.
Bourbon.
She had
Cabin
a
still.
crusty
With sugar
old,
in it.
crusty old pan on the stove, and she put her cabin still in a glass.
The bottle? Oh,
No,
no.
No, a
this
glass.
much in a
Little
glass.
jar.
Look at
And
Jen,
this
Not a
big
glass, it was a jar of jelly.
Yeah, it was a
jelly
jelly
jar.
glass
So the glass is heating up.
with the water in it.
What
And she was doing that when we got
kind
her
of a
in,
weird...
when we got her in the assisted living. They had stoves and refrigerators in their apartments, and they finally had to take the knobs off the stove so she couldn't
How do you even
use it.
think of doing that to it? Make a drink? I don't
Oh,
know.
they
how-
did
how
it
they-
for
funny.
years.
They
Like a hot
said it
toddy.
because she would drink hot water where I drink ice water.
But the alcohol had to evaporate. I
Well,
think
that's
they
what
needed for that.
The
that's-
Sewell side was the crazy side.
Okay, let's talk about
There's
Sister
no
Barb.
disputing that.
Dad, let's talk about your sister now.
Which one?
I had 3 sisters.
Three
Barbara.
sisters?
Barbara,
You forget Doris?
Barbara.
Barbara, the one all the men leered at?
That's
oh,
right.
they
They
lunged
lunged
at
at her.
At her.
I said,
Lunged.
no man ever lunged at me.
They lusted after her?
No, they lunged at her.
Oh, she wasn't that hot.
What
What are you talking about?
so.
Come on, Dad, tell the stories, Dad.
That's
What's
not...
your opinion on it?
Her
I don't
dentist,
recall
her
that at all.
doctor, her chiropractors, they all lunged at her.
She lived in her own little world.
I went to the same.
Oh, she's okay. She's fantasizing. I guess.
Yeah. Well, sure. How could all that be?
Yeah, where was I? What was going on? Huh.
Tell the story about Betty and how your dad couldn't discipline her.
Oh, great. Yeah, we mentioned that the other day when I saw her.
Yeah.
She said that she was, she wanted to do something, and Dad said she couldn't do it, and she said something to the fact that she was gonna do it anyway. And Dad said, I'll slap your face. She said, go ahead, and she stuck her chin out. Poor Dad, he didn't know what to do.
Go ahead.
She acknowledged it.
That's how she used to be 90.
There's definitely a common element of defiance running through the blood
I
here.
think there is, it's gotta be, you stand up for your own rights.
Yeah.
And then I love the thing Barb said about you two, how you kiss in public.
Oh, she goes to the Kolar and said, I wonder what they do in private, the way they kiss when we're out together. I thought, ye God's girl, you're out there doing it. What do you? To,
You know, Barb had a complex when it came to men, I know.
every man on the streetcar was undressing her with his eyes.
And she was married 3 times.
Yeah, Dad tries to say she's scared of men.
Is this the one that's,
She's
I
the
was
only
married to
girl,
Dave, my brother.
the only girl in our
They
family
had-
that
Lived
men
in Barbie.
flashed.
oh, okay, Danielle.
Oh, I won't call her that.
Well, that-
But Betty admitted when we saw her last week that she thinks Barb was manic depressive, just like the girls.
That could be.
Yep.
So, just
Well,
undiagnosed.
Both
Now
girls.
let's get to the heart of the matter. I mean, there's definitely a stream of probably undiagnosed mental illness and suicide.
Oh,
I mean, Dave certainly, Nancy, and my mom was probably hyperactive or ADD or whatever you
Hyper.
hyper.
Like Nana.
Yeah, ADD.
Nana was the same.
I can honestly say with my mother, I don't think I ever finished a conversation with her the entire time I knew her. You get
She had that nervous energy
it
just
just
like
would never
mine.
end. It was just continually rolling along.
But
Becky
your
like that
mother
too?
was like that too, wasn't she?
Mother.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, Scott's like that.
Keeping busy.
Constantly. Gotta be busy all the time. Doing 47 things at a time. None of them get done.
There's no way Jimmy could have retired. She had to.
No, she could never sit still.
Never.
Instant party.
About
She'd
6
create a party
minutes.
out of nothing.
She could ride out in town.
We'd have so much fun in the desert because she'd bring home all this soup and food from the clubs. Well, the chef would give it to her.
Yeah.
And then we'd get the 10 of us friends all together at our house. Did you have to?
No. Still out there.
And we'd have a soup party,
Yeah.
because she'd bring home like 3 kinds, and we all just loved it. Jack, why can't you have it? I said, the girl works all day and all night. I said, why? She said, well, this never hurt Donna, and it didn't. It was a thrill. That's why I had to get enough silverware from Betty Crocker for 10 of us.
But she had an amazing, maybe it's not that amazing, I don't know, but she could make a meal for 5 kids out of nothing. I mean,
She was a constant
mashed
entertainer.
potatoes, and she just make this, it looked like a full course meal, but it was nothing. You know, corn, I mean, it's a skill. You thought you were eating good, but it looked bad, it was like nothing. What a terrible thing.
I mean,